Welcome to the Fantasy Champions Fantasy Football Podcast. Here's your host, Morgan Colby and Rick Lemon.
It's a cool and breezy 60 degrees here in the great old state of Massachusetts. Check 1, 2. I feel like my mic is like wicked low.
It was actually 90 the other day. So
loud enough, whatever.
we're in full summer mode.
As we're both wearing hoodies.
I mean, I showed up wearing a tank top.
Yeah,
You're like,
that's
dude, you want a hoodie?
Because your tank top is literally cut off sleeves from your old basketball team.
You're scared I was going to show the guns?
Yeah, I was terrified. Absolutely terrified. Welcome to Fantasy Champions Fantasy Football Podcast. What's poppin', fellas?
What's up, man? How you been?
I'm doing all right. My name is Morgan Colby. I got Rick Lemon with me as always.
What's going on?
We got some interesting stuff to get to as always, but today is the must draft wide receiver show. Last week we did must draft running backs. Today we're going to do must draft wide receivers for the 2021 fantasy football season. So we're going to do that. We're going to try to break down that as much as we have, but we have some breaking news in there at the beginning of the show that we're going to talk through first. Before we do that, check our website, fantasychampions.com. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, search us, all that crap. If you are interested in writing for the Fantasy Champions, you're like, yo, I want to try to do this thing. We might accept you.
That was such a ringing endorsement.
We might bring you on the team to write.
We really do need a social media manager.
He's pushing the social media guy.
I am, because we need that, I think, the most.
What are you saying? I'm doing a bad job? Is that what this
No,
is?
it's just, kind of hard to run.
The whole thing?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it's true. Yeah, no, a social media guy. We're looking for a social media guy, maybe a video editor. That would be interesting. Because I don't want to video edit.
Yeah, something to take the load off.
And then definitely writers. So send over not an application, but DM us or send us an email saying you want to do any one of those things. And if you want to write, send us an article example. Because everyone goes, I want to write for you guys, and then I don't get an example article. Yeah. So
and iPhone notes are not acceptable.
I'm going to turn up my microphone in a second because I can't hear myself talking. If you're watching on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or any other podcasting platforms, leave a review, subscribe, share this podcast with your friends. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe, click the bell for notifications, like and comment down below. I don't like to spend more than 2 minutes introing, and it's been 3.5. All right.
Then let's get going.
So we just want to get to a tiny portion of news before we jumped into the must draft wide receiver portion of our program. And that's one wide receiver that Rick is down on, a little bit just down on.
I mean, I still love him.
4th round. He's value. His name is Julio Jones. And a huge, everyone was kind of talking about how he might get traded. And there was rumors floating around that was going to happen, and we were kind of like, it might happen, it might not happen. It probably won't. He'll stay a Falcon. That was everyone's consensus. And then he had a phone call today. I don't know if he knew he was on television or
Definitely did not.
Where he was on with Shannon Sharp on, was it Undisputed? Is that what that show called?
I think so.
Anyway, so he said that he wants out of Atlanta. He demanded a trade a month ago or whatever, and then he doesn't want to go to Dallas. I thought that was funny.
Yeah, because that's why they call him, because Skip is a Cowboys fan, and he was walking around in a Cowboy hoodie, so Shannon Sharp's like, yo, you want to go to Dallas? And he was like, nah.
No, I want to win.
Disrespect.
So anyway, Julio is most likely going to be traded, which makes a lot of people like, why would you draft Kyle Pitts if you didn't have Julio Jones? It doesn't make any sense. And I'm like, well, no, it does make sense because you have to replace Julio.
But
if you were losing Julio, it would probably make sense to go in other directions.
It just boggles my mind. Like, yeah, you do have to replace Julio. But what? So that makes you go from a 4-win team to a 4-win team?
Right.
Like, if you're going to replace Julio and do all this, they should have just restarted. They should have traded down.
They should have
got picks.
Yeah. Or drafted Justin Fields.
Maybe, I don't know.
Anybody else other than Kyle Pitts?
It just feels like they have no idea where they want to go.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Kyle Pitts draft pick, because this sounds like it was like pre-draft when he demanded this trade.
Yeah, it is. I think he's been wanting to be traded for a while.
Yeah, but let me Google. I'm gonna Google it right quick because I don't want to give you landing spots that don't make sense. But
I've seen a lot of the Ravens, the Chargers, 49ers, Patriots.
Best fantasy destinations first article that come up. So that 49ers Patriots 24/7 Sports reported this. 49ers Patriots included in rumored landing spots.
Yeah, I know the Ravens again.
I want a list of teams.
I don't think they have a list on here.
List of teams, but
Not the Cowboys.
I'd go with Pats for Julio.
The Browns, I've seen that. The Chiefs would be ridiculous, dude.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen.
They don't have the money.
I'm sorry about the screaming police cars in the background. Forgive me for that.
They're after him.
Yep, most likely.
That's the take police.
So anyway, the take police. The 49ers, the Patriots, I don't see why the Bears, or I'm sorry. Yeah, the Browns definitely.
He wants to win.
The Bills definitely. Kansas City I could see, but those are the outliers. I feel like it's either going to be the 49ers or the Pats. There's other teams that have been interested. I heard the Colts too.
The 49ers is like a weird one though.
But anyway, anywhere outside of Atlanta, like maybe the 49ers would make him a decent fantasy asset.
Yeah, but even then, I mean, they got so many weapons on that team. Is Jimmy Garoppolo going to throw 40 touchdowns or even Trey Lance's rookie season?
No, but
hey, but if Julio does go to the 49ers, I'm all in on Jimmy G again for this year. All in. Let's go. Every share.
Oh, you need
the Titans. That's another big one.
Oh, yeah, I heard that Tennessee.
Yep. That would be a good one.
And AJ Brown idolizes Julio Jones.
Yeah.
So
he said he would give up 11 in a heartbeat or something like that.
Yeah, for Julio.
Yeah.
So I don't know that anywhere he goes is going to be as good a place for him as Atlanta.
Yeah.
Because he has that connection with Matt Ryan. Now, as a 4th round draft selection, even if he gets 120 targets or 130 targets, which would be a decrease from his norm, or a large decrease from his norm, I still think he would probably end as like at worst wide receiver 15. That's kind of where that's where I'm kind of at. But if you're going off the board as the wide receiver, like 17, 18, 19, like,
yeah,
I'm okay with drafting that.
I don't know if he's getting 100.
If he goes to New England, just stick a knife in him. Stick a fork in him. If Mac Jones is not playing, Julio Jones is
Cam's guy, Julio. He's going to give him the ball. He's going to throw 40 touchdowns this year.
Okay. He threw, I think, 1 touchdown to a wide receiver last year. So it was either the wide receivers, which could be. It could very well be a wide receivers.
Well, it was like he's not as bad as the stats were, obviously, but there were throws to be had last year.
Fair enough.
That he did not make.
So yeah, those are kind of the landing spots for Julio Jones at this point. As far as fantasy is concerned, from my perspective, I'm not excited about anything outside of Atlanta. And like, I would be okay maybe snagging him in the 4th round because he is a really good wide receiver. He's not really dealing with any injuries, and he's extremely talented. I mean, this could be it. This could be the year where he poops himself and just turns into an old man fully.
Yep.
Not that he hasn't been going that direction anyway, but yeah, I don't know that anyone that picks him up is gonna make. He's gonna make a team better, but he's not gonna make your fantasy team better.
No,
sure.
Not really.
So I want to see the effects too. By the way, of what happens when if and when Julio Jones gets traded. Does he slip in drafts? Does he move up in drafts?
He's gonna slip from most landing spots, unless especially like New England. I mean, he will fall.
Yeah, big time. But I'm like, if he falls past the 6th round, I'm totally okay with taking him.
Oh yeah, and redraft 100%.
Yeah,
100%.
So, anyway,
I really don't want much
startup leagues.
Yeah, I don't really want any part of Julio in Dynasty. Unless you're like really in like, you're in a $50 league and you're like, this is my year to win the championship. I just need another flex. Like, okay, go get Julio.
This list of must draft wide receivers does not include Julio Jones, in case you didn't know.
Yeah, which is why we talked about it before.
Yeah. Anyway, so if you have any questions about Julio Jones and what we think may or may not happen or anything like that, comment down below any of those freaking questions. Let's move on to must draft wide receivers. This is the meat and potatoes of this program. So the first guy on the list is My guy.
He's your guy, but he's becoming my guy too. So heads up.
Back off, bro. Back off. Well, you know what? I'll ask you that question when we get there.
Okay.
I don't want to give away the second guy already because you know how I do. Give him away right away. But tell me why you think A.J. Brown should be a must draft.
A.J. Brown last year played on 2 injured knees and was still a dominant force. If you remember that playoff game too, he scored that massive touchdown where he like trucked 4 guys and went in. And I was like, holy cow. He also has a lot of vacated targets as you pull out the reason why he's number 1 on this list. The Titans have 224 vacated targets this year.
That's a lot of vacated targets.
That is, and I have a feeling they're not all going to go to Josh Reynolds and Des Fitzpatrick. There it is.
It's my guy.
Signed A.J. Brown jersey for everybody.
I gotta frame this before I wreck it.
Yeah, showing off the.
I have a picture too if you want to see it.
Showing off the jersey.
I wish it was authentic though.
Yeah. So is it not authentic?
The signature is authentic. The jersey is not.
Oh. Still, that's pretty cool. But yeah, those are a lot of vacated targets, and they're not going to go to Josh Reynolds.
Yeah.
And he still had 106 last year, 70 catches, 11 touchdowns, over 1,000 yards. The touchdowns are probably going to stay around the same. Mm-hmm. And now you add, he did that last year on 106 targets. If he just gets like,
yikes, bro.
He just gets like 130, 140 targets, which I think he will. I mean, that's your wide receiver 1 in fantasy that you're getting.
I think this is the reason why he's a must draft is because to me, like Metcalf was great. Like he's a great, and this is the direct comparison, I guess, of what A.J. Brown is.
Yeah. Like
these guys are like even, and
they're always compared.
Because the A.J. Brown and the DK Metcalf people are at battles. So like,
yeah.
But literally, I typed in A.J. Brown into Google, and the first guy that comes up right next to him is DK Metcalf.
Yep.
As another option. But he's ridiculous after the catch. Ridiculous. Oh, yeah. And I think that is part of the reason why he gets so many fantasy points. I remember I had a game last year where he had like 2 targets, 1 catch for like 2 yards. And I was like, I'm going to lose this matchup. And then he literally had 3 targets, 2 catches, and like a freaking 75-yard touchdown catch.
That's
and I was like, that's my guy. So no, I think that the big situation for him more particularly is you want to see him get more target share. He only played in 14 games last year?
I think so.
Yes.
I think he missed 2 full games.
So he only played in 14 games. Oh my Lanta, my computer's not going to work this out today. Okay, hold on. Let me go to game logs. I was in advanced analytics. So anyway, he was inactive for 2 games. Was that because he got injured or was it because of COVID?
I don't remember.
Okay. So anyway, he was pacing out to 120 targets, 80 catches, 1,229 yards, 13 touchdowns. And then he also had, I want to say, he didn't have any rushing, right?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, all right. Because I know they use him in like end around sometimes too. But anyway. So, yeah, he had an absurd amount of yardage and touchdowns. And 15.36 yards per reception is already ridiculous. If he continues on that pace, gets 100, like with Corey Davis gone, that's the, like you said, how many vacated targets?
It was 200 and 224.
And who did they add? List 2 they added.
Josh Reynolds.
Okay.
From the Rams.
Okay.
Who's okay. He'll probably get like 70 targets or something like that. And then Des Fitzpatrick, the rookie, in like the 4th round.
He could be a sleeper.
He 50 targets, let's say.
Okay.
That's 120.
Oh, God.
We still got about 124. So
right.
Anthony Fisker, right? Tight end,
yeah.
Yeah, he probably gets a target boost. Maybe 30, 40 more with John
He
Ugon.
gets a singular target.
No, he'll get more targets with John Ugon.
Yeah,
at the tight end position, and that still leaves about 80.
Could A.J. Brown? What chance is A.J. Brown reaches 150 targets?
Oh, I think they're high. If he's fully healthy, very high. Yeah. So I think that's where he's gonna get.
If that happens on his catch rate, okay, which last year was 66%. I'm just gonna say it's 65.
Okay, so you're
50 targets.
I'm giving him 1 less percent.
Oh shoot, I did it wrong.
Hold
on a second. Let me do the math properly.
I mean, if he gets 100
it by 0.65.
Yeah.
Okay.
If he gets
97.5 catches. Yeah, on 150 targets. Now, if you take that and you extrapolate it on 15 yards per catch, it's 1,400 receiving yards. And I would say about around 12 to 13 touchdowns again. The guy is automatically
That's wide receiver 1.
He's automatically in the range of wide receiver 1.
Yep.
Easy money.
Yep. And that's
why he's a must draft. It's easy.
And he's the 5th receiver.
Yeah.
Off the board right now, according to the Fantasy Football Calculator. So
yes,
that is a steal.
Yep,
absolutely.
Okay, so let's move on to the next guy because we don't want to spend too much time on AJ Brown. By the way, his ADP is 211 right now. Like, what the frick?
Yeah. Oh, 6th receiver off the board, I think, actually.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Justin Jefferson is the number 2 guy. Now, I was going to ask you because this is your guy. This is your man's.
Mm-hmm. Own him in pretty much every dynasty league I'm in except like one.
Okay, so Justin Jefferson or AJ Brown
in redraft.
In redraft,
I would rather AJ Brown.
Fair enough. In dynasty,
I literally have them one spot. Like they're essentially the same to me. It's my dynasty 1 and my dynasty 2 or 3, and it's still AJ Brown though. AJ Brown is my dynasty wide receiver 1, so just heads up.
Oh, that's wow. I feel like I can do that now. Okay.
Yep.
I can now justifiably put him as my wide receiver 1 in dynasty as well. I guess we're really high on AJ Brown.
Yeah,
that would be safe to say. So must draft Justin Jefferson. He had 125 targets last year. He's the wide receiver 7.
Yeah, wide receiver 7.
He played every single one of his games. Correct.
That is correct. I believe.
I'm gonna check right now.
He didn't start though the first. Yeah, he did play all 16 games, but he did not start the first 2 weeks.
So I'm gonna pace out from.
Yes, please do that.
He did actually start a couple of games. Oh my god!
But see, they just showed games started 14, games played 16. So yeah, those first 2 weeks, he did not start. I think he only had 3 targets in each game.
So after
this
that,
is ridiculous, bro.
After that first 2 weeks when they started him and he had 9 targets, even like I would even argue, I would go as far as to argue that he didn't really start getting a massive target share until week 6. So we're gonna go from week 6 to week 17. He had 145 targets paced out, 100 catches, 1,497 yards, 9 touchdowns.
He had more yards than the other one.
I did not think that a wide receiver in the offense of the Minnesota Vikings could get 145 targets paced out.
He did what Stephon Diggs did, and if anything, he got more volume. It's weird though, the Vikings offense, man. It's so game dependent.
Was wide receiver 5 from 6 to 17
because the Vikings will run the ball in every game that they're winning in, and they will try to control the game and all this stuff. But the moment they go down, they just start throwing it like they're the Chiefs from 2018 or 2019, whatever.
And they go down a lot.
Yeah, they do. If I can see what their schedule was like last year, there was a few games where that happened. Where I gotta find
where they
this.
fell behind.
Yeah, like big time, and then they just started. I think it was. No, not that one. Was it the Chiefs game? Oh, Seahawks game. I know they hucked the ball all over the place. There was a game where they might have won, and they came back and they were throwing the ball all over the place at the end. I think it was the Falcons game. There are games though where they are trailing. I think the Broncos game too, where they came back and won. There's another one that I'm missing, but there are games where they'll go down by like 20 points. And it's the fourth quarter, and so Kirk Cousins trash time, which I talk about all the time.
He just chucks it.
Yeah, but I'm not saying Justin Jefferson's going to have a better year than last year because I don't think he will. I think that offense is pretty much going to be the exact same. The only difference is he's going to be starting all 16 versus starting.
So I think you'll see a tiny increase in target share. What are the chances he gets 140 targets?
Yes, because fair? Yeah, is that what he was on pace for like 145, right? So yeah, I think whatever he was on pace for in the games that he started, I think is what he will do. And he still finished last year as a wide receiver 7, not playing not starting those first 2 games. You start him from week 1 to 17 this year, or 18, whatever, because the league changed. If you start him through all those games,
yeah, we gotta start thinking about that. Well, we only do 16 weeks here, boss.
Okay. Whatever.
I mean, 17 weeks now. Week 17 championships are here.
True. According to the Fantasy Football Calculator right now, he is the 303?
Mm-hmm.
3rd round, 3rd overall pick, 10th receiver off the board. And he was the wide receiver 6 Sorry, not even 7. He was the wide receiver 6 last year, not starting those first 2 games. He starts every game this year, puts up the exact same numbers he did last year. That's all he's got to do. He's got to be the same player he was last year. I think he's very capable of that. Adam Thielen's still there, so not all the pressure is on him. Mm-hmm. He does that. He's going to be probably the wide receiver like 4, 5, even wide receiver 3 potentially. And you're getting that as the 10th receiver off the board. Please and thank you.
So I also wanted to note, too, that he had 2.16 fantasy points per target. I love that for wide receivers. If you're getting over 2, he's
the deep ball guy.
Yeah, you're in an absurd situation. Now, I just did 140 targets for him at his fantasy points per opportunity, 2.1. Okay, I even dropped him 0.06. And he had 294 fantasy points
that puts him
through the whole season, which puts him at wide receiver 2 last year. And it puts him as the wide receiver 1 the year before in the Michael Thomas big year. So I think there's a shot that either one of these guys, A.J. Brown or Justin Jefferson, can and dare I say will be the wide receiver 1 in 2021.
I love it. I would bet A.J. Brown if I would to bet between the two.
Yeah.
Because
there is not a lot of vacated targets in Minnesota.
There's like none.
Yeah. So it's like he's gonna. The only thing he's getting is the target share that he would have gotten if he started the full season.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm like 140. But if he is as efficient as he was last year,
I still feel really good about him being like a top 5, top 6 fantasy receiver.
When you're talking about,
you're getting them in the 3rd round.
Hopefully this ADP is dead wrong because it's disrespectful to have him.
No, I hope it's dead right, bro. What are you talking about? Get a running back.
Downright disrespectful to have Justin Jefferson at the 303.
Dude. So essentially, you have like the 101. You take McCaffrey, and then you're at the turn in the 2nd to 3rd round. You get AJ Brown, Justin Jefferson.
Bing bing. Wow, dude,
it's nasty.
I might start sweating. I think we're only going to talk about one more guy.
Oh, you want a speed run?
Yeah, dude.
We can speed run.
Okay. So we can speed run through 3 guys in I'm gonna say 6 minutes because I got the outro too.
Yeah.
Okay. So DJ Chark is the next guy on the list. We were contemplating. Let's just say DJ Chark slash
there you
Laviska
go.
Shenault.
Perfect.
So I'm not gonna talk about Shenault at all, but I do like him. 9th round. Fantastic.
Yeah, 9th round is perfect value.
Honorable mention. Now the last couple years, DJ Chark has been he's been kind of good and then kind of not good.
He's shown flashes, but he has never been able to put it together for a full season.
So the big thing about DJ Chark for me is that he's finally getting a quarterback. Like in the past, did he play with Blake Bortles?
I don't know. I think he did, actually. His first season in the league.
So he was inactive for 3 games this past year. There were a couple of games that were really gross.
Yeah, he had a game, 2 catches.
But anyway, he paced out if he played the full season to 114 targets, 65 catches, 869 yards, 6 touchdowns. So that's what it would have had if he played in the 3 extra games. Still not that great. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna take a bet that he's going to be better in terms of catch rate because when you look at his numbers from last year,
I was gonna say, can we see his true catch percentage?
His true catch rate was 80%, and I just want to give you some perspective into that. The true catch rate of Justin Jefferson was 88%. So if he can get a lot more catchable targets. Last year he's number 99 in the NFL. I mean number 91, in the NFL in catchable target rate, which was not good. And so I think with Trevor Lawrence there, the only thing I'm going to be concerned about is I think they might throw the ball a lot less than because they're trying to ease Lawrence back in.
Yeah, I could see that.
So like 550 like passing attempts are there, but like there is no one else in that receiver core besides maybe Travis Etienne.
Yeah, I think Etienne will get targets. Shenault will get targets.
But DJ Chark is going to be the main guy.
Fine as a 3rd guy, but Chark is clearly the alpha.
The question is, how many targets do you think he's going to have?
What did he have last year? 100.
He had a paced out 114, I think.
Yeah, I think he can get a little bit more. I do think overall they're going to try to run the ball a lot, like you said, ease Lawrence into it.
Yep.
But they will be down in games. I think they're going to have more opportunities in the offense, because they were like. I don't know how many plays they ran last year, but I know it wasn't a lot. Right. They did run the ball a lot last year, too, so it's not like they didn't throw it at all last season. So, I don't know. And I think with Trevor Lawrence, too, they will ease him in to start, but I think as the season goes on, they'll let it loose a little bit more. You said 114 last year he was on pace for?
Yeah.
I'll say he gets like 125. 130.
Okay, so 125 times. So in 2019, he had 1.9 fantasy points per target. In 2020, he had 1.63. So if we just give him like 1.8, okay, just to be fair. So he gets 1.8 fantasy points per target. He's going to get 225 fantasy points on the season. If he does that, that would land him right around wide receiver 7 or 8, which is where you think DJ Chark is going to be. Now, the main reason for me, not necessarily that I think Chark is going to be a wide receiver 1. I would say that he's probably going to be low end. Like, I would say high-end wide receiver 2 is probably where I would project him to land, which is fantastic for wide receivers in fantasy football, by the way. But right now he's going 7-1. And if you can get him at the 7-1,
that's the big thing.
A top 20 wide receiver in the 7th round that is most likely going to sit on your bench depending on the league that you're in, that's a fantastic value.
Yeah, I mean, and the Jaguars do have some vacated targets this year as well.
Keelan Cole's gone.
Because Keelan Cole is gone. So I think, let's see, they threw the ball a decent amount last year. They actually threw the ball a lot. They had 616 passing attempts.
Do you think that's going to happen for Lawrence?
I think they'll run the ball a little bit more than that. But
okay, fair enough.
Again, with the vacated targets, do you think Marvin Jones gets all 88 of those? Because he's pretty much the Keelan Cole replacement. I don't think so.
Yeah, no.
Tyler Eifert's not getting 60 targets again, too.
Yeah, so Chenault could definitely hit like 110 to 120, and then I think Chark could hit 125 to 135.
And then Marvin Jones slides in there somewhere with Etienne.
Oh yeah, that's fair. But
Marvin Jones, like, he's an old man. He's a really good third receiver, but that's what he is to me. He's a third receiver.
So I would most definitely draft like Chark, especially on that
and Chenault too at that spot.
Yeah, exactly. The fourth guy, we're just gonna quickly. Yeah. Well, I'm just gonna tell you these two guys. So we have CeeDee Lamb and DJ Moore, who we'll talk about in the future. CeeDee Lamb, he's going at the 4.9, so he's a little bit pricier. But he is a fantastic wide receiver. He's in an offense that throws it 600 million times a game. And I think that he's going to get a target share as the number 2 wide receiver on that team and might reach 130 to 140 targets based on what he did last year in terms of... let me pull it up really fast so I can not talk unintelligently about this player. But he had 1.92 fantasy points per target. So obviously if you give him 140, 150 targets, he's going to be in a really good area. Maybe a wide receiver 1, and then obviously DJ Moore. Rick likes him a little more than I do. I think 6'2" is probably a good spot for him, and you have the new quarterback that might upgrade him just slightly, but we'll see.
Well, so I'll just quickly say with DJ Moore in the 6th round, I think it's great value. No Walmart intended. He had 118 targets last year in just 15 games, so you give him a 16-game season, he's probably at 130. He had 130 the year before that. Yeah. He's a very good receiver. He's had over 1,100 yards in both seasons with Cam Newton and Teddy Bridgewater as his quarterback. If Darnold is just any better, just even slightly better than either of those guys, that's going to be a bump. He's only had 10 career touchdowns total in 3 seasons. He's had 4 the last 2. Yeah. And it's not like he's playing in every game. He just literally has no touchdowns, 4 touchdowns in back-to-back seasons. So let's say that number goes even just like 6. Yeah. He goes up to 6 touchdowns, is a little more efficient, gets a few more catches, maybe gets 1,200 yards. He was the wide receiver 22 last year with those numbers. You add an up. I mean, that's like wide 15. Receiver, like top 15. I think that's very likely for him.
So anyway, those are your must-draft wide receivers. A.J. Brown, Justin Jefferson, DJ Chark, CeeDee Lamb, and then DJ Moore.
Yes, with Chenault.
So two DJs slash Chenault. Yeah. Chenault honorable mention. So there's your must-draft list of wide receivers. Get them in every single one of your leagues. We got a mock draft Thursday. Check it out.
Let's go.
Thank you for listening to the Fantasy Champions Podcast. Make sure you subscribe on iTunes and YouTube and follow us on Twitter @TheFFChamps.